Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 14 Plus and see how these particular iPhones or how this particular iPhone holds up in the later part of 2023. Now, the big thing you have to keep in mind with this particular iPhone is that one, it is still being sold brand new by Apple, but two, we've already had a few things change with these particular devices. So the successor, the direct successor of this thing just came out. We're also getting the new version of software on this particular iPhone as well. Now, I will tell you starting off, the exterior still stayed the same as we probably have guessed it. You're still getting that 6.7-inch Super Retina Extra OLED display. It's a very decent panel, 60 Hz. There's not really like massive changes coming from this one to the 15 Plus, but you are getting the dynamic island on the 15 Plus. So this is honestly one of the older iPhones you're probably going to be getting with this type of, with the notch, which is, or one of the newest ones with the notch, depending on how you look at it. So definitely kind of an interesting thing to kind of keep in mind there. It's still a big size display, so there's not too much to hate on it there, but it still looks good nonetheless. You're getting flat sides, you're getting the lightning port at the bottom, which is still very nice. On the back side, you're getting this standard glass, material, which looks and feels very, very good. I think that's a really cool thing going on with this particular phone. And I do think from that perspective, it gets a thumbs up for me. Like it's a very, very decent feeling back. Dual camera setup, wireless charging, MagSafe capability. You're getting a lot of capability here, which is really cool. And I, for one, am a really big fan of these types of devices. So from that perspective itself, I think it gets a thumbs up for me for sure. Now, the big changes here, iOS 17, this iPhone did kind of end up getting its next version of software. And luckily for us, this type of device pretty much got all the features within iOS 17 that we would have expected. It's really not that old of an iPhone. So pretty much all the features that the iPhone 15 got, the iPhone 14 Plus also kind of got, which I think is a pretty big deal. So that in and of itself is a really, really cool thing. The fact that you're going to be getting this type of iPhone with this type of capability, I think is super solid. And I, for one, am a big fan of the way this iPhone kind of holds up from that perspective. Again, it's not perfect, but I do think it does a really good job from that particular standpoint. So from my, viewpoint to this one, I think it holds up very well, at least from everything that I can kind of see from that standpoint. Now, on top of that, the iPhone 15 Plus just came out. I did compare the 15 Plus against the 14 Plus. And from everything that I kind of saw, I will probably tell you that the iPhone 14 Plus holds up very, very well against the 15 Plus in the performance side, in the software longevity side, those kinds of things. But I will say the exterior this year is where a lot of things changed. And this is where the iPhone 14 Plus is going to start looking a little bit older. So I will tell you that dynamic island is not really that big of a deal. Like I'm totally fine not having a dynamic island, but things like the USB Type-C port or the frosted glass back or the 10x zoom, like things like that kind of scream to me that that's kind of a better device on the 15 Plus and a much bigger change this year than, let's say an iPhone 13 to a 14. I feel like the 14 to the 15 was a bigger change this year, and that's kind of just what happens, but that's genuinely kind of a pretty big deal in my opinion. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind there. On top of that, I will tell you, I will say the 14 Plus, even though it is kind of a little bit lackluster in the body standpoint compared to the 15 Plus, the 14 Plus is still doing a really, really good job from everything that I've seen across the board. From the performance side, from the stability side, from everything you can kind of think about, it does a really, really good job. And I'm a really big fan of the way this phone has kind of been holding up from that perspective as well. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is I think the iPhone 14 Plus is a very good device. I think it's still completely worth buying. But if you're in the market, you might want to just go for the iPhone 15 Plus if you have the money. You can also save some money and get like a 13 Pro Max if you want to go down that direction too. That might be a little bit better for some people, but the choice is yours. I don't really think you can go wrong with either one of these devices, to be honest. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.